welcome to the Nerdy Cool Dad podcast. We're looking at episode 11 today, and apparently Tuesday. As you might have noticed, I've changed up my formatting a bit, added a little pizzazz to things, if you will. I think it's. I did some research, and I was using a portrait format previously because I thought it would work better on mobile, but it really limits you to having proper intros and presenting yourself online on YouTube and things like that. So I've changed it, and I don't have to wear the headset anymore because I realized I don't really need it. The mic on my phone is pretty damn good, and why make things more complicated, right? I want to be as comfortable as possible, and now I can flail my arms around like an octopus, if you will. So here we are. Something I noticed in the house, and I'm sure you've all noticed this as well. The insects are back, right? Like, where'd they come from? As I was mentioning yesterday, I guess it was on Sunday, had a really a beautiful 2 hours of weather. It was probably about 15 degrees and sunny, and flies were coming out like crazy, hit me in the face, getting my beer. I was on my back deck, have a nice tall frosty one, and I was like, oh shit, bugs. I forgot about bugs. And ever since that, that's all I could notice. In my house last night, I just keep finding this one spider that's been living in my bathroom, and I'm pretty good with spiders. I just kind of let them do their thing, and then as long as they don't get in my personal space, if they're up in the ceiling in a corner, then whatever. I'm not gonna bother. You do your thing. But then I found them on right by my hand when I was opening the door. I'm like, God. And this was actually probably 5 minutes after I saw one of those big dirty house centipedes downstairs in my not in my kitchen, but I guess my mud room. And it was just I don't know. Those things are disgusting. I know they don't put webs anywhere, and they're purely hunters and that sort. But they're just so fucking disgusting looking. I just can't deal with them. So I killed that one, and then I went in the bathroom, and I feel bad, but I killed the spider. And then I was thinking to myself, what the hell are they hunting? I don't see any other bugs except for these predatorial ones. And literally, I shit you not, the second I killed these two other bugs that probably would have eaten other ones, I see 5 mosquitoes in my room. Where the hell did you come from? Are you so desperate for food that you're coming into my home now? I don't know. I expect to see more of this activity, and I will document it thoroughly as I go, as I'm sure you all want to know. But yeah, that was my kind of weird segment into the podcast today. I'm sure other people are noticing this as well, and it's just gross. But at the same time, I'm trying to. I'm pretty good with bugs normally, spiders included. Spiders really, honestly, don't bother me that much. It's just those big, dirty house centipedes are disgusting. Outside of that, I'm sure that most of you are noticing how raw your hands are right now, just from washing them repeatedly. I mean, I feel like a freaking lizard right now, and I keep putting on lotion, and I've got that one lotion that's just too greasy. I rub it on, and I feel like I'm sitting there rubbing my hands for a good 10 minutes, and the grease doesn't come off, and then I gotta use my hands on my keyboard and whatnot, and it's not a pleasant experience. So, but what can you do? I mean, do you want dry hands that hurt? I don't. So, yeah, you gotta go for the good stuff. Unfortunately, so Trump's at it again. As I'm sure you're already aware, previously he had stated that he was hoping for America to be back in business and cram the churches by Easter. No way that's happening. I think you'd be an idiot to think it was happening. And now his new statement as of yesterday is that the U.S. will be back in business by the end of April. Unfortunately, what he did was spark all these nut jobs that were televangelists to take things way too seriously, or take matters into their own hands because of their self-delusions. But believe it or not, a Florida man who is also a pastor was fined yesterday. It might have been previous days. I don't know. I just saw the article yesterday. as he was holding masses for anyone who would come, and breaching your self-isolation, or not self-isolation, social distancing. Laws have been passed right now to keep everyone safe, and he's there, preaching whatever the hell he preaches to a bunch of morons that decide to show up as well. Outside of that, there was like choir groups where a bunch of people got infected. Like, who would have thought singing out loud in front of a bunch of people in front of you would spread germs? I mean, I for one am shocked. But yeah, this idiotic behavior just keeps going. And then I saw this really, really ridiculous video yesterday. I don't even know this guy's name. He's this old televangelist, and he's just like, Satan, I banish you from the coronavirus as of right now. The coronavirus is done in the United States of America. And he just went on, and this nut job beside him, like, praise the Lord, all this stuff, and my goodness, like, I don't know what's more moronic, the fact that this guy's doing this, or the fact that people are watching him and giving him their money. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just out of touch, but I just think that's like one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. And I bet you they're all getting infected. And this guy was pretty old too, and as well as his counterpart. So Darwin, right? That's all I can say about that. Outside of America, I mean, well, yeah, we see the numbers continue to rise, and just all the craziness that's going on right now. It's insane. I really don't expect to see the same America when this is all done. Even Canada, the world in general. I don't expect to see the same world when we come out of this that when we came into it. In my opinion, and I don't want to offend people, but yeah, okay. I'm from a first world country. We have it really good here. But at the same time, I don't think I personally was benefiting from how things were run in the past. You talk about the stock market and how well it's done and record highs. Like, I never had money in the stock market. It meant nothing to me. I mean, the same 1%, as you could say, we're benefiting big time from this, and the rest of us are like, okay, great, yeah, I'm gonna go work in my job downtown every day and ride the train, and this makes no difference to me. I'm just working for someone else. So, yet to be seen, and I don't want to be cynical about this, but I actually do think that maybe we'll come out of this better than we were, as far as the silver lining is concerned, and it's yet to be seen. Just sort of hoping for the best. We'll take it one day at a time. But I've talked about emerging technologies, how people are doing business now. You have to get a little craftier. People are having to be a little bit more thrifty. Like, I've got a whole greenhouse going on in my mud room. I've taken green onions, I've cut off the stems, and what I've used, and I put them in water, and they're regrowing. Now I have them in soil, and I'm thinking to myself, how much money have I spent on green onions over the years, where I just cut them off and throw them in the garbage? We're pretty wasteful. And that's just one example, of course. I mean, I'm doing it with heads of lettuce, things like that. I've talked about this in my previous podcast, but it is definitely interesting. We just have to be less wasteful, and that's better for the environment. I mean, as I've said before, who's really benefiting from this whole coronavirus outbreak is the environment. We had no money, no resources to fix it, and now all of a sudden, within a month or two, we'll call it 2 months, of all this pandemic going on, our natural environment is doing pretty damn well. So it's it gives you some perspective on what people's priorities are overall. But yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see how things go. In Canada, we have some interesting things going on, that's for sure. It was reported yesterday that some people were being pulled over on exit ramps of highways to see how many people were in the car. I believe if you have more than 4 people in a car, that or maybe it is more than 3 people, you could get a fine. Now, some are saying that this is ridiculous, maybe overkill. It's not ridiculous, and it's not overkill. Because honestly, people are just showing that they're morons and don't want to follow the rules. and are looking out for their own selfish interests sometimes. I understand that you got to get to work, and that would be obviously something that's allowed through these checkpoints and things like that. So that's not what they're looking to do. It's just people that aren't taking this seriously. Yeah, I mean, someone's got to play the parent to give them a slap on the wrist there. But I don't know. Let's hopefully we can figure this shit out and be a little bit better about it. One thing that we have to worry about in Canada right now is like our numbers don't look that bad, and the reason they're not looking that bad is for two reasons amongst others, I'm sure. Right off the bat, we're not testing nearly enough people right now. I don't believe for a second that we only have like 5,000 infected people in the entire country. That is not true. We're probably looking at well over 100,000. But yeah, they're not testing it because they don't have enough tests, and we have to plead to get more tests. On top of that, what I've been told through healthcare professionals is that our testing, a typical test result takes about 5 days, as I touched base on yesterday. Now, it seems that there's a backlog to actually finalizing these tests, and we're closer to 14 days. Like, that's insanity. That means the data you're seeing right now is likely 2 weeks behind, not just 5 days behind. So that's pretty scary. So the problem with that is there's always going to be people that are looking at this and not taking it seriously because they think the numbers aren't too high and that this is all ridiculous. And if you really want to go down a rabbit hole, then it's all the Democrats' fault. Obviously, we all know that that's who's pulling the strings here. Yeah, it's crazy to see what's going on right now. Again, Canada doesn't look like we're in a bad position, but you wait and see, because I've heard some pretty crazy horror stories from people that are in the medical profession and other professions too. Like some people are bylaw officers, some people are first responders. I mean, they're just reporting stupidity constantly of people not taking this pandemic seriously. So, you know what? Whatever measures, I mean, Trudeau, you said you were going to take more strict measures. Just do what you got to do. You're not going to get complaining hear me complaining in general, but there's always someone who's going to complain. So let's do what we need to do. Let's make things more strict. Let's pull in the army if we need to. Likely going to. So let's just make it happen. I think people are ready for it, and those that aren't, well, you had plenty of time to prepare, so you have no excuse. Now, I do want to take a note, and there is obviously a subset of people that, and probably a larger group than I think, that have abuse issues at home, whether it's spousal abuse or child abuse, anything like that. I really feel for those that are stuck in a bad situation like that. There are, not that I expect any kids to be watching my podcast, but you never know. There are phone numbers, that you can call, like Children's Aid, things like that. If you're in a really tough situation, or if you're in a spousal abuse situation, there are people that are willing to help still. So don't think that you're on your own, and hopefully you can stay safe as well. So just want to point that out. Again, big props to all the medical, anyone on the front lines. Again, I'm going to say this every day pretty much, because I know what they're going through. At least I have an idea of what they're going through, really separating themselves from their family, and that's really sad. And fortunately, the government's been pretty good at offering housing solutions for medical professionals or anyone that feels like they're an endangerment to their family coming home every day. So whether it's hotels, dorm rooms, or even I've seen a trailer dealer, Owasco in Durham, offer like 75 trailers for nurses and doctors to live in during this pandemic. So that's really cool. I hope to see more of that going forward. But to take it out of a negative funk right now, my wife and I were doing No Tech Tuesday today. Obviously, I got to work and I got to do my podcast and stuff like that. Excuse me. But as soon as work's over, no tech. So that means no video games, no movies, no TV, nothing. Put your cell phone away, and we're gonna maybe do a puzzle or play a game, something like that. Get our mind off things, and I think that's a really healthy thing to do. I'd like to see if this can trend. No Tech Tuesdays. Let's see if we can do this, people. I'll put one of those hashtag things that all the kids are doing, and let's see if we can make this happen. I think it'd be really positive. And I'm also, tomorrow, I might try something else. I'll share that tidbit for tomorrow, so that people, if we can create a fun schedule of things to do on a nightly basis, maybe it'll make things a little bit more enjoyable while we're hunkered down in our homes. But that's all I got for today. Hope you like the new format. I'm going to keep pushing things further as I get more interest in my podcast, and maybe even look at doing a long form podcast with some callers and things like that. Different people that might want to join. Hey, if you want to join my show sometime, let me know. Give me a shout, and I'd be happy to have you on. So yeah, stay safe and stay the fuck at home.